FFA convention here in Indy, and so I'm staying downtown as I kind of showed you guys last night, and I totally did something random. I picked out a guy in a blue jacket that was at the same hotel, and he was a victim of a situation that I said, goodness gracious, I want to talk to somebody. So David Schuler is from Nebraska. David, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and what you're studying in agriculture.
Sure. So I'm David Schuler. I'm from Western Nebraska, like you said. I am an animal science major at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. I grew up on a seed stock red Angus farm. We also had 1,000 acres of row crop.
Okay.
Learned a lot how to be a diligent hard worker back then, and became an FFA member, and the rest is history as becoming a state officer for the Association Nebraska, now being selected to be part of the national officer selection process and interview with them to maybe become a national officer.
Okay, fantastic. So for those of you who may have worn the blue and gold jackets like I did and like David is currently doing, a lot of opportunities and leadership development capabilities, right? As you think about from being an FFA officer at your local chapter to then going on to state and even challenging yourself to go through the national officer selection process. So what we like to talk about here is kind of leadership in agriculture, whether that's in our jobs for people who are working or whether it's people who have a passion like you and I do about ag leadership. But tell us a little bit about your experience. And as I initiated the conversation, you said you're really excited about helping people find their passion. So how do you go about that, David?
That's a really interesting question. As I've learned in FFA and working on the farm and being a college student, I learned that your profession is what brings home the paycheck for your family and feed your family back home, but then your passion is what you were put on this earth to do and what you are calling to do and strive to do every day. And we're lucky to work in farming and agriculture and make our profession and our passion the same thing.
Right.
I enjoy searching people's passions and motivating them to find their passion, and then thinking of how they can uniquely give back as a servant organization like FFA and utilize their passion that they have, whether that's in farming, whether that's helping the needy or the homeless, or also pursuing an agriculture career as a farmer or rancher.
Right. So you informed me here just a few moments ago that there was a cut made last night, and unfortunately your plans kind of changed based off of that decision last night.
Yeah.
And as part of leadership, it's dealing with change, being willing to be flexible and in diverse situations and adapt and overcome. So how do you think about, now you're going to go back to school, how will this experience change how you look at leadership and dealing with that?
First of all, I'm just humbled to be a part of this situation. There's 42 that are able to be here today, and where else in my life will I have 42 passionate individuals like themselves in one room for 3 days? As that cut happened, I was very thankful that I had the right training to help me know what my next path in life is going to be. I know that there's a bigger plan out there, and I know that my servant cause and my passion will be used other ways besides this organization. When I take this jacket off, I'll take it off and maybe put on a lab coat, or I'll put on the working overalls, or I'll put on a suit and tie and be a lobbyist for organizations. I know that the career skills I've learned in this process, in FFA, in high school, and in college, that my career path will still be just as bright as someone who may become a national officer for this organization.
Sure, absolutely. I know just talking with you kind of takes me back to my days of even considering the state FFA office and, kind of where I wanted to go. And certainly FFA provides a lot of opportunities. And for those people who don't necessarily have those opportunities to maybe be in it as a state officer or even run for a national office, there's still plenty of opportunities out there.
Yeah.
So as we think about leadership, what's your biggest challenge as you think about leadership from your situation? What's the biggest challenge in leadership?
I think we talk a lot about what we could do and motivate people to do things, but the actual purposeful input of making change happen, making sustainable success happen is the biggest challenge. We have numerous people talking in front of thousands of people at this convention, 60,000 strong. And it's to who are the individuals that will come out of this convention, go back to their communities, and actually make the change that is needed within their unique community, and making that sustainable for the future, so we can continue to build upon that. I think that's the biggest challenge.
That's great. And interestingly enough, we were talking at dinner with some of my counterparts from work about, you're in a unique position because you are 3 years into college, right?
Yeah.
So you haven't been jaded by the world around us,
Yes,
right?
right.
You haven't experienced maybe quite as many downfalls as what happened throughout the course of a new career or a new job or trying to learn different things.
Yeah.
But how would you advise people who, we struggle with it every day? How would you advise us to think about your perspective as not being so jaded with the world around us? How do you keep tracking forward to make that change or want to make that change?
Absolutely. So, even thinking younger than this, the kids in our lives and the teenagers and how they are always there to learn, they are always thinking positively first because they haven't had those bad experiences.
Right.
So if we can clear our minds for a second, think about the values that we strongly hold to ourselves, which
Yep.
is our family, holding a home that we can house and have conversations around the
Right.
dinner table. If we can really hold on to those morals and values and then think about how we can go about a problem and think of both sides of that problem
Right.
without having a preface in the before, since we have this political debates that we have going on in our lives right now, what if we took that all away and just thought of the values first and
Yep.
then have conversations of how we can achieve the challenges that we see and take on the downfalls we have in life? And that's something that maybe the younger generation has going
Yeah.
for us that we can maybe utilize and help others in our future.
Right. Fantastic. Some great words of wisdom from such a young guy here, David Schuler from Western Nebraska. Totally at random here, picked him out of a crowd. Appreciate you spending a few minutes with us tonight.
Absolutely. It's
And
my pleasure.
absolutely, best of luck to you at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we will see him in some leadership roles because this organization does more than just help individuals through high school and college.
Yeah.
Certainly a lot of skills gained, and as you can tell, you bet. Very smart, well-spoken young man. Keep it up. You can tell he's, even though he might not have made the cut for national officer selection, there's a path God has in store, and
Absolutely.
we're sure you'll find your way. So we appreciate you sharing your thoughts on leadership and how you might be able to transform FFA and transform not only your communities but the people you're around. And we certainly thank you for sharing that with Supper with Sean on Periscope tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night, and we'll probably try and find some other blue and gold jacket to
Sure you
corner.
can't find any.
Yeah, we'll find one, I'm sure. So thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night.